Welcome to the Lighting Mind Show. I'm your host, Sunil. This podcast is about exploring Indian philosophy, the meaning behind the concepts in Indian philosophy, Indian culture, with a sound basis, with evidence-based basis of why those concepts are the way they are. It is not a random explanation, rather a way for the modern world to connect to the past in a very meaningful way. Welcome to Lighting Minds podcast, to another episode. I'm your host, Sunil. I know it's been months, maybe probably over 2 months since I have done one of these episodes. I've been very busy with work, but today I found time to make a presentation about something very interesting. I've done the connection between Gita and Jyotishya before. Today, I want to do a connection between Indian philosophical concepts and one of the concepts and Jyotishya. Very interesting. Before that, let me wish you a very happy Navratri, and hopefully you have watched the episode where I've explained the reasoning behind why the festivals fall in the different parts of the year, the Hindu festivals. So Navaratri is the darkest part of the year. Like if you compare the year to a day, Uttarayana is the daytime, and Dakshinayana is the night time. And within that, Deepavali, the Amavasya that happens, the Tula Amavasya happens in 15 days. That is when Lakshmi wakes up. And then you have the Utthana Dvadashi, which is when all the Devatas wake up, Vishnu wakes up. Vishnu here is sun. And then you can see a progression of things. Dhanurmasa in the December, and then Vaikuntha Ekadashi. Then the whole Vaikuntha Dvara opens as if the world is now open for business. So that is kind of daytime. Uttarayana happens. And then, you have all the equinox and all the Ugadi and all of those things that happen. So before, if Diwali is considered the Brahma Muhurta of the year, just before that is Navaratri, and that is the darkest part of night. That is when Durga is worshipped to protect us during the darkest part of the night. And just before that is in the Bhadrapada Krishna Paksha is the Pitru Paksha, where the Pitrus, the Bhutaganas, the Pretaganas, they all come down to our worlds. And there's a connection between Halloween and the Pitru Paksha, and the Pitrus and the Bhutas staying all the way until they all go back during Deepavali. So during Deepavali, I'm going to do a podcast episode talking about those things. But today I want to talk about the transit of Rahu and Ketu, which brings me to the concept of the philosophy and its connection to Jyotishya's concepts. So on October 30th, about another 9 days from now, Rahu is going to move to Pisces and Ketu is going to move to Kanya, Virgo. So if all of the grahas in the zodiac move in a clockwise direction, Rahu and Ketu move in an anti-clockwise direction. They are the Asuras. So they're moving to, like, Aries or Mesha Rashi is considered the first sign, but because these are reverse moving, Pisces, which is the last sign of the zodiac, is the first sign for Rahu Ketu, because it's the anti-clockwise planets. I shouldn't even say planets; they are grahas, they are shadows, they're just a shadow entities. Now, what is the significance of Pisces and Kanya? Because that is what connects the Jyotishya concepts to Vedanta concept. So let me open up hold on, where is this? The whiteboard, not the apps. The whiteboard. Yes. Okay. So you should be seeing, and I know that last time I did this, was not using the pointer, so you are not able to see where I was pointing to. So you always learn. This is the chart of the zodiac signs on the 30th when Rahu moves from, this is the Mesha Rashi, which is the Aries, goes back to Pisces. And Ketu, they're always facing each other, 180 degrees from each other. The north node and the south node. And you can see that it is moving, Ketu moves from Libra, Tula Rashi to Kanya Rashi here. Now, what are these signs? Every sign in zodiac has a meaning. Actually, more than the sign, the bhava, which is the number of the sign, is the most important. So if the zodiac starts with Aries. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me try to write this. So this is the 0 degrees. Pardon my drawing here. So this is the 0 degrees. And the zodiac actually goes clockwise like this. And then starts from here and ends in Pisces. Pisces is this Rashi where Rahu is, and Kanya is this Rashi. So if you can, the Rashi count starts from here. This is 1, 2, 3, Rashi 3. This is Rashi 4, Rashi 5, and Rashi 6, and so on and so forth. So this is Rashi 12. So Kanya and Meena Rashi fall in the 6-12 axis. And what these bhavas mean is very interesting. In Vedanta or in Jyotishya, the 6th sign is the sign of Shadripu, your enemies. It's debt, disease, debating, fighting, immaturity, superficialness, and overall bondage. So if you have a 9-to-5 job that you are stuck in and you feel like suffocated, that is this. And overall, it is also the samsara bandhana, the everyday grind. I like the English part of it. The everyday grind is nothing but the house of Kanya. That's the everyday grind. It is the normal, natural, daily grind, the routine. So these represents the routines. Get up, go to work, come back, sleep. Get up, go to work, come back, sleep. That's the routine. That's all Kanya Rashi. So Kanya Rashi is ruled by Mercury, Buddha, and Buddha is a boy. He's immature. So this is the sign of immaturity, right? And the opposite of it, in Jyotishya, the opposite is a complement. So what complements this is sign of Meena is the 12th sign, and 12 in Jyotishya represents freedom. So basically, Meena is everything. It's an ocean. It's everything what Kanya is not. If this is a routine, this is freedom from routine. If this is fighting, this is freedom from fighting. If this is debt, this is freedom from debt. This also represents complete surrender to something beyond. Now, it's a very good way to understand the philosophy, because what is liberation? In Vedanta, in Jyotishya, liberation is denoted by Meena Rashi, the 12th sign. So there are many different schools of thought in Vedanta. Some of them talk about knowledge as the most important thing, logic as the most important thing. If you look at the progression of Indian philosophy, with Buddhism, there was a huge push for logic. And then Vedanta kind of adapted and adopted a lot of Buddhist concepts in the first millennium CE. And you would see a lot of Vedanta schools using logic in Vedanta. A lot of those schools did that. But then at the start of the second millennium, that is after 1000 CE, 1000 AD, 1000 CE, what is infamously taught to us in high school history as Bhakti moment, the Bhakti moment is taught in our classrooms, or at least when we were studying, as that emotional reaction to the highest philosophies that came in the first millennium. Total rubbish. Because the true concept of philosophy is already shown in Jyotishya. It's always been there. Jyotishya's significance of these houses have never changed. They've always remained. So what is liberation? What leads to liberation? So if sixth house is debates, questioning, immaturity. So what this says is the immature ones debate endlessly. The immature ones question concepts endlessly. But unless this questioning leads to the ultimate surrender, there is no liberation, there's no freedom. Right? So what Vedanta says is moksha. So if this house represents moksha, the 12th house, moksha is gain. What is the state of moksha? Moksha is the dying down of all of our questions. There's no more question. There's no more confusion. There's no more doubts. Meena Rashi, there's no doubt. Meena Rashi is full of faith. It is total surrender to something beyond us. That is the nature of Meena Rashi, independent of philosophy. If somebody has planets in Meena Rashi, they usually have a lot of surrender to something beyond. So that is what the planets in this Rashi represent. The Rashi represents total surrender. So what is Indian philosophy saying? In order to gain freedom, you got to surrender. That means moksha is only possible with total surrender. Okay? Second one, moksha is the dying down of desires. So it is only possible with giving up, because 12th house is actually giving. So when you stop taking, and you start being a giver, a person that shares and gives, that is what is going to be that. So maturity. So what is in the Jyotishya concept? What is immature and what is mature? Immature is routine. Immature is confusion, doubts. Immature is debating, superficial. That is all immature. The mature, they don't debate. They are conviction. The Prajna Pratishta of Gita, where Sthita Prajnasya ka bhasha, Samadhistasya Keshava. What Arjuna asks Krishna, Sthita Prajnatva is this. When you are Sthita Prajna, the barking dogs here in Kanya Rashi, they don't make any impact on the Sthita Prajnas. They are not moved, they are unmoved, because they have completely immersed themselves, surrendered themselves in the faith of Paramatma. So it transcends the questioning. It transcends petty fights. It transcends all of those doubts and confusions. Conviction. Meena Rashi is conviction. Meena Rashi is devotion. So when in Indian history, I think even today they teach that the Bhakti movement was some kind of an emotional reaction to the intellectual heights of Indian philosophy in the previous millennium. Rubbish. No. The intellectual peak of Indian philosophy is the peak of Kanya Rashi. It is the peak of the most immature period of Indian philosophy. Bhakti represents the most mature period of Indian philosophy. Take that, whatever board that sets your syllabus in history. The most mature, as Jyotishya proves it, is surrender, faith, surrender to something beyond bhakti. That is the most important one. Krishna himself mentions in the Gita 2nd chapter, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Traigunyas, they are the ones who are doing yajnas to attain Swarga. They come back. Their understanding, Krishna says, Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. So their understanding is superficial. Their Vedic understanding is so superficial because they are driven by getting short-term, superficial, pleasurable ends, which is like Swarga, heavens. But the true ones understand that the true end is complete freedom from bondage. They are the Sthita Prajnas. Beautiful, right? Traigunyas are Kanya Rashi, Sthita Prajnas are Meena Rashi. Right? So do not confuse this to, if you are born in Kanya Rashi, you're not going to be that. It's just a feature of the Rashi, what that Rashi represents. Every Rashi represents something. So the routine is represented by Kanya Rashi, and the freedom, the ultimate freedom through surrender and devotion, which is basically mukti, or the goal of mukti, that is represented by Meena Rashi. So rest assured, the highest peak of Indian philosophy is the ones like what Kathopanishad says, the pinnacle of bhakti, the pinnacle of surrender. That is the goal, the end of Indian philosophy. So until next time, bye.